wait. Hey there guys, this is Tyler. Welcome back to another stream. Oh yeah, alright. Hello Martha Olivia's, welcome to the stream. Hello those thankful bros. Exotic butlers. Exotic butt hairs. Alright. So, yes, I know I originally delayed it till Thursday, but we're doing it right now because my internet is working, so, and I have free time, so might as well. Originally, it was supposed to be yesterday because Matpat Monday. If you don't know, we are in the process of watching every single FNAF game theory and film theory ever in honor of Matpat due to his retirement that's coming in March. So yeah, and last stream we watched all the FNAF 1 through 4 theories, and now we're on to the sister location stuff. But how are you guys doing today? Oh boy, cannot wait. Hello Zwire Pumpkin. Hello, hello, hello. But yeah. Alright. How are y'all doing? I hate ads in live streams so much. Sorry, that's my fault. I add those. I need money. Har har har. But yeah. Part 2. Now, I need to announce this real quickly. I'm gonna turn off the music for this. My phone's broken. Yep. However, the 3 videos I was like that were in Power Director that I was currently working on, the Tyler Tales movie, the next episode of Tyler Tales, and the FNAF movie Iceberg, all of the scenes and shit that's been produced for those have been uploaded privately by me on another channel. So, in case my shit on my new phone does not transfer, I have those, so progress will be back like usual. But that does mean that until my new phone comes in tomorrow, which should come in tomorrow, videos, so yesterday and today, videos have not been worked on, unfortunately. I am going to stream, though, because I am able to do that, so, yeah. Yeah, bro, what? Yep. So, once I get my new phone back, though, I'm gonna be working hard on videos. On streaming order, which is the next Tyler Tales episode, and FNAF movie Iceberg, especially, but the Tyler Tales movie. I will have to unfortunately announce pretty soon publicly that the Tyler Tales movie is it's doing that again. Yeah. Will sadly be delayed for longer than it was supposed to come out. It's still gonna come out this year. That is like the target. But like, I'll talk about it once like it becomes relevant. But yeah. In the meantime, we should get started. I think we should get started. So, alright, so you guys ready? You guys ready? Alright, so game theory, FNAF sister location decoded. Alright, so I'm gonna turn it up. All right.
It's been half a year. So
Okay. Hold on.
It's been half a year.
Okay, we're good. We good, G.
Let's do this. Let's solve the secrets of FNAF Sister Location months before the game comes out.
I was left behind. Oh, this torture will unwind. I love how that song came out for Sister Location. And it became like, it was accurate to the game too. Biddy Babs, Phantom Puppet, entered.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where today the goal is to solve the biggest gaming mystery of 2016 before it even exists. For once, I'm gonna get the jump on you, Scott Cawthon. Here's how I'm gonna do it. We'll know that Scott loves dropping little teaser hints on his site.
Yes,
this time, he's tipped his hand a bit too far. Enough for me to get a solid theory going on a lot of key elements we'll see hidden throughout his newest installment, Sister Location. And while some clues come from the teaser images and trailers themselves, the biggest revelations this time have come from the source code on Scott's website. So get ready for a comprehensive preview of what Scotty has in store.
I think this is like, the Sister Location videos onward, like 2016 onward, is when like Matpat's editing became like more than great. All right, the FNAF, for some reason, the FNAF 1 video had better editing than the FNAF 2 video, because the issue with the FNAF 2 video's editing was like some of the images like were clearly like cut out from backgrounds were clearly cut out and stuff like that. But even then, FNAF 1's theory is kind of, it's, both are still good editing wise, but then like the FNAF 3, like the 2015 theories, there was a bit of like a bump up, and then FNAF 4 bump up, and now we're officially, I think, at the point where like these theories are actually like well edited, like really well edited. So yeah, we're at that point. And then, as we'll see, they become way better edited, like way better. Like Matpat is always evolving. That's like something I've always respected about Matpat and his videos, that like in terms of the production value, it's always like it's always improved over time, like heavily. And I think that's like a true value to have within a content creator.
And I mean every element of this franchise, from the original series of games, to the novel, to FNAF World, to the ever-evolving source code on scottgames.com, in our attempt to expose the facts behind the next trip to Freddy's. Now, Scott hiding hints in the coding of his site is nothing new. It was the source code that started the whole Bite of 83 versus 87 debate back during FNAF 4. But this time it's a bit more than just a mere hint of what's to come. It is a fully fledged story. So let's take this line by line. This first big chunk at the beginning starts off like a collection of letters and punctuation, but upon further inspection you can make out repeated numbering patterns and letter combinations representing days of the week. When pieced together, it becomes a schedule looking like this, listing out the days when certain animatronics are either available, booked, needed for a private party, or mat.
I still remember how like it was a debate on Fistnum's like watching every game theory, but when it says book next one stream, that like they were like him and Ellie were arguing if booked counted.
Either in May.
I personally didn't, for two reasons. It's booked with like ed at the end, and secondly, it's not a book. It's like, you know, it's different definitions.
Or needed for a matinee show. Unclear which. It's also worth mentioning that 4 animatronics are specifically called out here. BBY for Baby, BAL for Ballora, and FTF for both Funtime Freddy and Funtime Foxy. Now, for those of you who don't follow every scrap of information about these games, let me explain. Reddit discovered that Scott had gone and copyrighted various names, presumably for these new animatronics. And here, we see it being
Foxy the
confirmed.
Pirate.
More on some of these guys in a minute. The thing I want to call out first is that there's clearly a 5th animatronic in this schedule, 0500.
So wait, did that mean is Yendo and well, a little bit it was probably already copyrighted as FNAF 4, but Yendo was in the game, like base game. Does that mean around this time, around base game, Sister Location, Yendo was public domain?
OS. out of service. But who could this be? In the trailer, we only see 4 animatronics. Well, that's where this teaser image comes in. A few weeks ago, this image was up on Scott Games. A mask with glowing eyes and a tangle of wires, almost like tentacles, accompanied by this text.
Lovely.
Quote, "There's a little bit of me in every body," end quote. Notice the grammar here. It's not everybody, but every body. This is our 5th animatronic, our out-of-service animatronic.
But
I mean, look at it. This guy ain't being booked at any children's parties.
I'd have entered at my party.
But that's not all we can conclude
I'd have entered
about
at my
him.
party.
The
I don't know
text
about you.
indicates that a piece of him, his soul, his mechanisms, whatever, is in every other animatronic body. This could have 2 possible explanations. Either he's possessed the other animatronics and is controlling them, which would explain the "don't hold it against us" line from the teaser trailer we hear over and over again. Or, more likely, he's the reason the other animatronics have life in the first place. This pile of wires is kind of like the puppet from the original series. Giving gifts, giving life. Or maybe this is the puppet. Rebooted version of it. Now, stay with me.
In that moment when DA Games predicts the story of this location before it comes out better than the literal game theorist.
One thing that we've largely forgotten about since his first appearance back in FNAF 2 is how the puppet character just didn't fit in with the FNAF world. Sure, as it kept making appearances game after game, we just kinda accepted its role, but seriously, think about it. FNAF 1 through 4 were all about animatronics with big, bulky bodies and an animal theme. But then insert the puppet, thin and with a human face, complete with red
bulky
cheeks,
maybe, but
crying
animal,
eyes, and red lips. Features that we haven't seen on anything else until now. Fast forward to Sister Location and we see humanoid faces everywhere. Ballora and Baby, rosy cheeks, lipstick, and now look at Day of the Tentacle over here.
Puppet didn't even come back until fucking Pizza's them. Imagine if there was like some type of variation of the puppet in Sister Location.
That the ears can detach, separate itself from the main mask part of the face. It's the exact same silhouette that our puppet's face has had since the 2nd game. Additionally, if you look at the trailer for Sister Location
these theories are so terrible, I love them. I know, right, Dave Miller? Oh shit, there's people in the chat. For some reason my thing didn't fucking fresh. Hello Spongy, welcome to stream. Is Freddy secretly pregnant with Afton's kid? Hello Rye21Goo, thank you for the good luck. Yeah, the fun time of Foxy Reflection. Oh yeah. Hold on.
For Sister Location very, very closely, you discover what may be a very cool Easter egg. In the reflection of Funtime Foxy's cheek, we see something.
That is interesting, though, I will admit. I don't know what the deal with that was.
Animatronics, it's a part of their body. For Ballora the ballerina, we see the reverse of her arm and earrings. For Baby, it's her finger and bow. But Foxy here is reflecting something that has a bright red dot besides 2 colored streaks, aka a bright red.
Maybe Bonbon? Maybe? No, because that's Funtime Freddy, obviously, and then, like, why would he be next to Funtime Foxy that are in, like, different areas in the fucking map? Could be the bow tie, actually.
Cheek and 2 streaming tear tracks. It's like that time we covered reflection mapping to find Super Smash Bros. Hidden location. Could that be the puppet's face reflection mapped onto the model of Foxy's skull?
That is
Regardless,
interesting,
though,
though.
if you ask me,
that's something that was never answered in fucking Sister Location.
We haven't seen the last of the puppet in whatever form he comes in, and based on the designs of these characters, Sister Location might finally be giving us the origin story we've long been waiting for. Now, hopping back to the source code, the next section shows us that there seems to be 3 file directories for various clients. The first is for a place called Chica's Party World, the second for private birthday parties, and the third—
Can we just agree that the suit in Night 4 Sister Location is Funtime Chica or some, like, variation? Basically, because of the Chica's Party World source code and the fact Funtime Chica literally fucking exists. And the fact that the mouth shape of like,
or CRMN Institute. I can only assume Carmen Institute or Criminal Institute.
Carmen.
This starts to tell us a lot about the setting.
I mean, Carmen would kind of make sense because that's like part of part of the name of the person who wrote the Toro March. But like, That'd be like really fucking random.
Universe of Sister Location. First, many people have speculated that the industrial feeling setting shown during the trailer for the game is a factory for the robots. I think we can get a bit more specific. Considering the availability schedule that we just covered and the client folders with various needs for birthday party supplies, it feels like this new setting will be a storage facility and distribution center for the animatronics, responsible for shipping them out to various gigs across
Wait, what the hell?
Distribution center.
That looks like a fan render. That looks like a fan render. Let's see. Let's see.
Responsible for shipping them.
Nightmare Toy Bonnie. Fan made render. Or image. What the hell? Dude, if this were like 2024 or 2023 even, or even 2020s in general, people would get up in arms about the fact that Matpat used a fan render in his video without credit. I don't even think there's credit. I don't even want to check the description. I don't feel like it. But people will be pissed today for no reason.
Out to various gigs across the Fazbear locations. The reference to Chica's Party World builds out the lore of the universe, showing another spin-off location to the restaurants, but also builds out the lore of the universe, showing another spin-off location to the restaurant.
What the fuck? Why is Wizard Chica? This is random. Just Wizard Chica just be flashing over the fucking...
also strikes me
what the
as
hell?
just that, a reference, a fun Easter egg, referencing the one anime...
I think later on in Matpat's theories, he stopped doing that type of edits. He did those types of edits with, like, Golden Freddy or the Puppet, one of the two, in, like, one of his, like, older theories. Where he'll just have, like, some scary character flashing just for, like, horror factor. Again, he stopped doing that later in his theories.
Who
I think this is like one of the last ones he does with
game. So far, we've seen versions of Freddy, Foxy, and a Bonnie hand puppet, but Chica has been noticeably absent. And honestly, I think it's gonna remain that way. For some reason, it just feels like she doesn't fit in this new world. And so the mention of Chica's Party World is a fun wink and a nod to a character that will be sorely missed. But to me, of all this section, the most crucial client is the last one, the CRMN Institute. Notice when you look at it that it has a subfolder called Project. This, to me, is incredibly important since every teaser image Scott has posted on the site
I missed this type of theorizing now.
Has been
like
labeled
source code
project.jpg. Seems like a generic naming convention, right? Wrong. I went to an Internet Archive database and dug through the source code of all the past teaser images from all of...
Okay. That's weird. That was weird. That was really weird. What the hell? Hopefully that's not a recurring thing.
There says to me that if we're not headed to a distribution center, then we're going to a place where these guys are getting experimented on, which ties in...
Kinda. Yeah.
The trailer quote of...
Okay, that has nothing
These
to do
guys
with that.
are being experimented on, a project at some mysterious institute, and you can bet that they're not happy about it. But perhaps the most crucial detail hidden in the source code is the last line. A line that blows the door wide open on the story for this new game. Service log, maintenance, CO, or care of...
This was like really fucking cool at the time.
Robotics. Afton Robotics. What the heck is that? It's a good question. If you're like 99% of the fan base and only know the games, this might not ring a bell. But if you happen to buy and then make it through all 500 pages of the Five Nights at Freddy's Silver Eyes novel, then that name sets off all sorts of...
This is... The source code thing was probably like the first time truly that Afton's name was name dropped in like stuff related to the games. Of course, the first time ever being name dropped was the Silver Eyes, obviously, but like the source code of Sister Location was like the first time truly ever where like game related side of things, Afton's name was dropped.
alarms. You see, in the book, the Fredbear and Fazbear restaurants were founded by two men. The first is named Henry. He's the father of the main character and the creative half of the company, the one responsible for designing and building the robots that we all know and love. The other co-owner was, ready for this? William Afton, and he was in charge of the business side of the restaurants. Paperwork, taxes, things like that. So to see Afton Robotics in the source code teasing Sister Location is huge, because it means that the stories of Sister Location and Silver Eyes are linked. But get ready for this. Here's the bigger twist. By the end of the book, it's revealed that William Afton is what we fans of the game would know as the Purple Guy. Yeah, in the book, Purple Guy is revealed. Afton is the one who kidnaps and kills children while wearing Fredbear-themed suits. His first victim is Henry's son Sammy, followed by 4 other kids whose souls eventually possess the infamous suits. So, through these source code teasers, not only has Scott confirmed that this new game will be tied to the lore of the book, but will be dealing with a robotics company founded by and named after the child-killing Purple Guy. Now that's already a huge mind blow, and I'm about to go further, but before I
does feel
let's
cinematic,
address the elephant in the room, the canonicity of the book. The internet, by and large, dismissed Silver Eyes under the assumption that Scott said it's not canon to the first 4 games, but that's not entirely true. If you read his entire statement, and I understand that it's hard for you internet since it's 3 whole paragraphs that aren't summarized with a TLDR line, he actually says, quote, "Sometimes the lore of something can become so crowded that you can't tell an original story anymore. The first 4 games and the books should be considered to be separate continuities, even if they do share many familiar elements. The book is canon just as the games are. That doesn't mean that they're intended to fit together like 2 puzzle pieces. The book is a reimagining of the Five Nights at Freddy's story," end quote. And this makes sense, right? The first 4 games were crushed under their own convoluted lore and fan base dedicated to making every new toe added to Foxy mean something. No, I'm not saying that's a bad thing to have people enthusiastic about your story, but it does become limiting when you make continuity errors or want to do something new with these characters. And with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming ever closer, it becomes even more important. There needed to be room to insert...
not closer. It's becoming years after this. Like, this was 2016, so like 17, 18, 19, 20... like 7 years later.
Actual characters into this story. You can't make a movie out of some pre-taped phone tutorials and silent furry monsters.
Right, dude. Like,
you can't make a movie out of some pre-taped phone tutorials and silent furry monsters.
Matpat predicted the people that complained about the FNAF movie not being fucking accurate, dude. Oh my god, dude. Like, right? Like, even Matpat, like, 7 years ago was saying you can't make the movie about Mike just looking at the fucking cameras and shutting doors the whole fucking movie. There needs to be plot. Even Matpat, 7 years before the movie's release, was saying that. Oh my god.
Monsters. Thus, enter Silver Eyes, which builds out new characters, new faces, and new stories that can be told.
And the movie uses William Afton, like, his name, too. Yeah, there's Steve Raglan as well, but, like, it's clearly, like, a fake name, like Dave is in the Silver Eyes. Like, William Afton's name is also used in the movie.
In the setting of these games. So yeah, the separate canonicity of the book makes sense.
I agree with Water Pumpkin. That's why I also think Abby was a perfect conclusion, just for that reason too.
As Scott said, it's a reimagining, and obviously
it gives character to Mike.
Sorry, I keep pausing. A lot of crossover, and based on that Afton clue we just saw, Sister Location is going to be bridging the line more and more. So does any of this matter? Yeah, actually a whole lot. Because if we take the Silver Eyes Sister Location connection to its logical conclusion, huge pieces start to fall in place. Let's start by working backwards. Based on the trailers and teasers, Sister Location's main animatronic is this clown girl, Baby. But the teaser trailer isn't the first time she appears. She's introduced at the end of the FNAF World Update 1.2, something we discovered in our playthrough of the game over on the GP Live channel. Once you collect all the characters and beat Chica's Magic Rainbow, long story not worth explaining, you're immediately taken to a cutscene where a mysterious figure at a desk apologizes to you for creating a robot that cannot be deactivated. The bot's name? Baby. We then see a pair of eyes light up, telling everyone to take their seats before cutting back to the room to see the desk guy lying there dead, presumably killed by Baby.
Teaser
Now,
was so
many
hype.
people assume that desk guy was Scott Cawthon since he's the creator of the animatronics and the minigames that you play in FNAF World. However, it'd be weird for Scott to kill himself. Plus, the dialogue from the...
Man, Scott hates his life, guys. Why am I not canceled yet?
FNAF in Space minigame, yes, again, FNAF World is a weird game, seems to imply that Scott is a separate entity from this desk guy.
Scott's had enough.
Figure. So if desk guy isn't Scott Cawthon, then who else could he be? Well, now that we know that Baby and Sister Location both have ties to Silver Eyes, we can actually identify who this mysterious creator of FNAF World is. He's Henry, co-founder of Fredbear's and Purple Guy's business partner.
This was actually fair.
Well, not only is he the creator of the games and animatronics, his death also lines up with the way he dies in the book. Stricken with grief over the death of his son, Henry commits suicide in the living room by letting one of his animatronics kill him. One that remains nameless in the book, but is clearly not any of the core six of Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, Golden Freddy, and Golden Bonnie. In other words, Henry the creator is killed in his home by a mysterious new animatronic, just like we see happen to Desk Guy in FNAF World. The events just line up. Now that's all the stuff that I feel really confident about. But now let's have some fun and take it even further. Admittedly, I don't think that this is where Sister Location is headed, but there is enough of an evidence thread to take us to some awesome extremes. So let's have a little bit of fun with this, shall we? First, notice how Baby is introduced to us at the end of FNAF World as two yellow eyes in the dark. And what's the first image we see in that game? Two yellow eyes in the dark, along with the iconic ending line from FNAF 4, I will put you back together.
Oh boy.
It's also the last thing that we see in the true ending to the game.
I mean, there was kind of like FNAF 4 parallels in Sister Location, so...
Two yellow eyes saying, I will put you back together. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way that those are Baby's eyes. One, why would she say that when she wasn't even in FNAF 4? And two, we all know that that line and those eyes belong to the imaginary friend, psychic friend Fredbear.
He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who you gonna call? Psychic friend Fredbear.
Well, don't be so sure. Let me remind you of something. In the FNAF 4 cutscenes, each character has a specific color for their dialogue. Number 787878 for the brother, FFFFFF for crying child, 57C0FF for the brother's friend, etc. Psychic friend Fredbear's dialogue for all of his lines is always the FFFF57 shade of yellow. And yet, for the final lines of You're broken, we're still your friends, I will put you back together, it's a different shade of yellow. FFFFA0. Similar, yes, but definitely different from Fredbear. So very intentionally, Scott made this a different character, but in a strange twist, it's actually a color of dialogue shared with one other character we see in FNAF 4, Pigtail Girl.
I remember when people were like, you know, going like theorizing hard about this girl and Baby being the same character and everything. I remember, I was there.
The one who knows that the animatronics come to life and get stuffed with dead bodies. Coincidence? Yeah,
I think
or
not.
at least we all thought so last year, but look at her design. Dressed in a skirt with reddish pigtails and big green eyes. Just like the design of Baby. Hear that? The collective sound of minds being blown across the internet. If the glowing eyes, shared dialogue color, similar designs, and repeated line of I will put you back
that is
together
fair
did
though.
convince you, it doesn't stop there. Remember the biggest lingering question from FNAF 4? The girls' room? No one had an explanation for it. I didn't have an explanation for it. And yet Scott felt it was important enough to the lore of the story to show us. And now we might actually know why. What if the girl is a part of the crying child's family? First, it would explain why we would see her color of dialogue reappearing in his final moments. As a family member, she would be
Elizabeth is part
of
of the family, but
and if she shares a
we don't know if that's
Baby,
Elizabeth.
it would also tie together the random presence of Mangle in the room.
Like
One
her
of the other key
spirit,
animatronics we see in Sister Location trailer is Funtime Foxy, which we can confidently say is an intact model of what will eventually become Mangle. Again, we're looking at the major details. Yes, some things may or may not be there. Notice the lipstick, the red cheeks, and painted fingernails on Funtime Foxy, all of which reappear on Mangle. So in the two games, we would have Baby and Foxy linked. Is it a stretch? Absolutely, but then again, this is Scott we're talking about. To me, though, the coolest part about this connection would be in the name of the
Wait,
game.
what the hell?
To me, though, the coolest part about
what is? Just use the official the Adventure Funtime Foxy model for FNAF. Why are you making like a fan-made sister location Funtime Foxy? Oh my god, Matpat, I love you, but come on. It's the same deal, the same video as the Nightmare Toy Bonnie thing, like earlier in the video. Can't find like where that was now. But come on. Again, if this were like 2024 or 2023, people would be pissed about this. I wouldn't care. I would think it's hilarious. People get upset over shit like that.
This connection would be in the name of the game. This whole time we've been assuming that Sister Location was referencing some other spin-off chain of restaurants, or like I said earlier, we've been assuming
this image followed the Nightmare Toy Bonnie. Just don't use this. There's a rule now. Every time you have to use this image of Freddy's, before that there needs to be some type of fan edit or fan render. Just gotta be. There's just gotta be. There's gotta be. I'm trying to find it. As I recall, like, whatever.
Location was referencing some other spin-off chain of restaurants, or like I said earlier, a storage and distribution center for the robots. But if the pigtail girl's soul is trapped in Baby, and she was indeed the sibling of Crying Child, the phrase sister location takes on a whole new meaning. This is
after the red
game,
screen
a game
filter.
About one
Oh yeah. I don't think I can find that either. Oh yeah, see like here.
Animatronics, responsible for shipping them out to
Nightmare Toy Bonnie.
gigs.
And then this image, and then
to me, though, the coolest part about this connection would be in the name of the game.
This image, like, bro, that's a coincidence right there. Alright, let's skip it.
She was indeed the sibling of Crying Child. The phrase sister location takes on a whole new meaning. This is her game, a game about one sister's soul trapped in the baby animatronic getting revenge for her brother's death. Just don't hold it against her. You don't know what she's been through. Or maybe now you do. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. The ball's in your court, Scott. You should subscribe for more episodes of Game Theory. You should subscribe for more episodes.
I already am.
You should subscribe for more episodes of Game Theory. Or cast your vote. Are you excited about Sister Location? Yes. Or no? Click on one to choose.
I was like really excited for Sister Location at the time. But yeah, so okay, so that was something. Man, oh man. The only things that were like true ended up being right was the whole Afton being involved thing, obviously. And then a little bit with like Elizabeth being an Afton, or the same family's Crying Child, and all that, and her percent baby and all that shit. That was like accurate. Everything else though, oh my god. Oh man. Left Behind did it better, I'm sorry. And that's literally a song. Oh my god. Left Behind predicted Sister Location better, I'm sorry. Anyways, the next one. Oh, and there's an ad. Of course there's an ad. Or not. Okay. Alright, next one. Alright. Game theory. Follow the eyes. FNAF sister location. Wait a second. I need to see something. Real quick. This was after sister location. Okay. October 22nd. Sister location came out October 7th. Alright. We're in for a post-SL release theory. This is creepy. What the fuck? We ain't doing this shit again. Okay. Thought it was like buffering again. Man, the official FNAF movie poster be looking better than this shit. No offense. The count. Oh shit. This man's dedicated. Oh shit, I forgot. Fuck. Oh shit. I'm just gonna rewatch it. Let's just rewatch it.
When it gets dark, they will awaken.
Let's rewatch
Children's
it. Sorry about that.
Spirits will rise.
I turned it down when I played the Game Theory intro remix music because that shit is so loud. Okay.
They will kill you. I'll just walk out in the morning, stepping over your corpses one by one. You are intruders.
This shit is creepy though.
None of
this
you
intro
will survive the night. And what makes you think they won't kill you? Because I am one of them.
Better be better.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory. Still available to consult on the FNAF movie storyline. Seriously, Scott, I'll be waiting by the phone because I can practically guarantee I've put more collective hours of thought into counting animatronic toes, tracking eye colors, listing out the differences between pizzerias,
why we counting toes,
services, parsing out your phone guy calls, and counting and recounting and recounting again the number of dead child carcasses left in your story's wake than literally anyone else out there. I mean, I've even gone so far as to do the unthinkable for these sister location videos. That's right, I reread The Silver Eyes. In an ironic twist, it took longer than the actual game. Now, here I am piecing together the script
I remember watching like GT Live's like sister location streams and shit. Genuinely entertaining stuff. I like watching GT Live streams. It was my shit back then. I should probably rewatch them. Not on stream, but like on my own time. Maybe when I'm working on like Tyler Tales or like other videos, just put that on the background on my TV. But yeah, I think another reason why Matpat is like so beloved in the FNAF community, and he's considered like the best of like the FNAF theorizing community and everything, is because like Matpat is like dedicated to the series. Like you just heard the man; he literally spent like a whole fucking week rereading, not reading, but rereading the Silver Eyes for like just one game and everything. Like, this man was, and he still is, dedicated to, like, this series. For as much as people give Matpat shit sometimes, like, at least he was dedicated. He's actually, like, trying to, like, piece these games together, you know? It's not just some shitty Reddit that you find on FNAF Reddit or like Reddit or whatever.
Doing nothing but thinking about these games, writing and rewriting timeline after timeline to account for all the nonsensical Easter eggs shoved into this 4-hour experience. And you know the conclusion that I've reached? That your version of events isn't satisfying. That any theory I come up with that attempts to bend over backwards and cobble together every line of dialogue, design detail, and character motivation will be overcomplicated at best and inherently flawed at worst. And that's not me admitting defeat, it's a fundamental problem with the series right now. This one just tried too hard to do too many things. You've got elements of the past 4 games mixed in with FNAF World, mixed in with the book, all of which at this point have questionable canonicities, conflicting storylines, and competing dates. Couple that with characters that mimic other characters, characters that lie to you, and characters that may not even exist across the different story threads of the franchise, and it's unclear if this is a continuation of the books, if it's a continuation of the games, or just an outright reboot of some kind.
Even Matpat was criticizing Sister Location before people started criticizing Sister Location. I still can't believe Matpat was like saying he was agreeing with Sister Location video. Yeah, even back then, people were criticizing Sister Location, just not as much now. But like Matpat was like the spawn of that.
The best analogy I can think of is that it's like the giant human glob you turn into at the end of Inside. A mass of limbs all struggling to work together to move in one direction, but all just flailing out randomly. And honestly, it could have been easy. With Scott saying that the original story was completed with FNAF 4,
yeah,
you
no,
could have just
was
said that Sister Location was aligned with the book and FNAF World to start paving the way for the movie. But then you couldn't help yourself, Scott. You just had to throw in those FNAF 4 Easter eggs, huh? And those put everything into chaos. And it's not just me feeling it. Based on what I'm reading online, a lot of FNAF theorists sense that the lore contained in Sister Location is a game changer, but then they don't exactly know why or what to do with it. Struggling under the weight of explaining away Ennards and babies, Mikes and Williams, casual.
It was a game changer, both in gameplay and story. In terms of gameplay, it's obvious because of the fucking free roam shit. And then with like story, it's because like it introduces all these more like sci-fi elements that like serve to be experimental. That's why Sister Location was considered a game changer.
And exotic butters. What's an Easter egg, what's a tongue-in-cheek reference, and what is actual canon? So understandably, there's some confusion about what's actually going on in this game. And that is what I'm out to solve in these videos. Picking Sister Location apart to definitively put together which details matter and why this is such a monumental game for the franchise's lore. So go ahead, keep your plots vague and convoluted, Scotty boy. I'm here to translate your madness to the world. First off, who are we playing as? Historically, the protagonists of Freddy's games have had a varying degree of importance. There are those like Mike and Fritz who, for all we can tell, were just names with the sole purpose of filling out the "to" line on a paycheck. Sure, they may have been retconned into some importance now, but they were never really intended to be that way. Then there was the crying child of FNAF 4, hospitalized and trapped in a waking nightmare. Slightly more important, I would hazard to say. And the game recognizes this as, during your first encounter with the new animatronic baby, she calls out,
"It's a strange thing to want to do, to come here. I'm curious what events would lead a person to want to spend their night."
Ennard's still one of the creepiest animatronics in my favorites. Same. Ennard is like my #1 favorite. I think you already knew that though. He was like my avatar. But like, yeah, Ennard is like still like fucking awesome. Hello, Reeb G. Welcome to the stream. I've heard this music everywhere in FNAF Festival. Anyways, I've only heard it in like Matpat's videos, but even then, I wasn't really huge as an SFM guy. So
maybe curiosity.
It's probably just
maybe ignorance.
Answering the question of who you play as in Sister Location is more important than any of the
It
rest
does
of
sound
the
like
games
it would
in the
fit
franchise,
FNAF
since it
SFM
practically dictates
though.
every other element of this story. Why you're there, what the endings mean, what this location stands for, how this fits into the overall timeline. It's a big deal. Now, personally, based on the silhouette in the mirror, my first guess is to say that we're playing as Rick Astley. And Scott is just
I still believe to this very day that the cutout of Michael in the mirror is supposed to be like Rick Astley. It's like cut out and shape and everything. I still believe that to this day, as like a fucking joke.
Hitting the most elaborate Rick roll in history.
Oh,
just
you're
look
copyrighted.
at that hair. It's an exact match, and let's face it, Scott has proven that he's not above trolling us. But assuming he has a little bit more respect for the fan base than that, there can only be one possible conclusion here. In sister location, we play as William Afton, purple guy himself. And no, I'm not just saying that because the eyes in the ending are purple.
No.
Like everyone else on the internet's been saying.
Okay,
Sure,
Custom Night wasn't out yet, obviously, because that didn't come out till December of 2016, and this came out like 2 or so weeks after Sister Location, so it's still October. But like, no.
It's a nice detail that may hint at Scott's intentions, but it's not.
And there's honestly, it's one of the coolest designs ever.
proof
I
again
agree.
by turning to
Facts.
the in-game
I
dialogue.
love
On your
everything
quest to
about
unlock the
Henry,
game's fake ending,
especially
the
from a design
animatronics
perspective.
taunt you with these little bits of dialogue, spoken by a young girl in a British-sounding accent.
I'm still
British.
here.
Isn't this why you came?
British.
To be with her again.
So we know that whoever the player is has some sort of connection to this mysterious young girl. But who is she? Well, throughout the game, between nights, we hear the same girl pressing her father to let her play with Baby, saying things like,
Daddy just once let me go play with her. She's so pretty and shiny. Didn't you make her just for me?
From that small snippet, we can not only tell that our character is her father, but that he's also in some way the creator, or has some level of control over the animatronics.
Yeah,
This in
okay,
turn
this is,
narrows
like,
the field
accurate,
down
though.
by quite a bit to two men,
This is
William
accurate.
Afton and Henry, no last name
Nope.
given, the two co-founders of
No.
Fazbear Entertainment as introduced.
Didn't you in the last theory that find Afton Robotics in the source code? I think it's pretty obvious who the creator or controller is.
Introduced in FNAF Silver Eyes. By the way, low blow, Scott, forcing people to read in order to have any sort of clue as to what's going on in the franchise now. Because seriously, without reading the book, you would have no clue the importance of William Afton.
Modern day FNAF lore. I'm sorry. Even as someone who's warmed heavily up to the newer FNAF lore, like with the Mimic, it's still baffling how like some of that shit you need to find in the books and not in the games, like Ruin and stuff. Even like again, like 7 years ago, Matpat was even saying, like predicting this shit, like with the movie.
Oh well, that's what I'm here for. I read it so you don't have to. Kind of like the nostalgia critic. Anyway,
Oh my
based on the
God.
girl's accent and William Afton's similar dialect at the beginning of the game,
She can dance. She can sing.
Vote for British.
She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips.
it would seem as though we have ourselves a match.
You are the father.
But let's not be too hasty there, Maury. We can be even more sure. In the game's real ending, you get yourself tricked, becoming animatronic fodder as the machine scoop
Matt
out your
has, like,
internal
The
organs and
Simpsons.
replace them with endoskeleton cords. Now,
the
this
fuck?
really bothered me since it's like the antithesis
As a
of what
British,
we
I can
expect
approve
from our
William Afton
stories
as a
when we beat
pardon.
the game. Here I am wanting to finish my night and return home to my basket of exotic butter, but
Me?
no, that's reserved for the fake ending. Becoming a flesh
fake
suit is
ending.
somehow canon to the series. I wanted to write it off as jumping the shark, like, hey, we're getting a little bit too absurd right now, but then I realized that this is a franchise built on haunted animatronics chasing you through a pizza restaurant. After they
But even then, that made kind of much more sense than like sci-fi shit, because like at least unlike sci-fi, you could argue that the paranormal is real. Like me personally, just to get like personal for a second, this is like my personal opinion. I do believe in ghosts. You can judge me all you want. I don't fucking care. But like even then, I don't think that has anything to do with like how I perceive the FNAF lore. Like paranormal like activity and shit can be like is probably more believable than like sci-fi elements. So that's why I think like Sister Location was kind of like a jump the shark moment. Again, I still like Sister Location. I don't dislike it. I don't think it's amazing anymore, but I still like it. But like from a lore perspective, it was like a huge leap.
They've been killed by a serial killer hiding in a mascot suit filled with killer springs. So, crossing the line of absurdity? Yeah, I think we're long past it at this point. Becoming a flesh suit is an oddly specific event to be integral to the lore, and yet, there it is. So we're left with two options. Scott's either completely lost it at this point, or
The worst part is the fact that we don't know what is canon in modern FNAF. Yeah, that too.
He has some other plans for this character, and indeed he does, as the novel once again shows us why this odd story turn is so important. In its pages, we're treated to all sorts of lines that make it clear Mr. Afton is the one who gets himself stuffed. Page 407. Quote, Charlie, there's something different about him. It was as if the guard, the man they had met, had been stripped away, and what sat before them was nothing but a blank canvas. End quote. And again, 2 pages later, quote, Dave is the fake name for William Afton in the novel. He's hiding out in another identity. Long story. Anyway, just go with it. Dave's body moved upward, straightening, but the movement was too smooth. He seemed to make no effort, use no muscles, and exert no energy.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Like, right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys.
Eyes open steadily, glassy, and without emotion, like the robots on the stage outside. End quote. And there you have it. That totally just spelled it out for us, didn't it? Like the robots on the stage outside. In fact, the book makes a huge deal about Afton's eyes, over and over again, like when the character John describes seeing Afton kidnap his friends on pages 120 to 122. Quote, the eyes. They were all I could see. They were dead, just dull and flat. Like they still moved and blinked and saw, but whatever was behind them had died a long time ago. End quote. Died a long time ago, you say? Like perhaps in an underground murder bunker, doubling as a robotic distribution center, perhaps. Now real quick, let's pause here and have some real talk to Ennard, Baby, and the gang. Guys, we're gonna have a bit of an intervention here. If your goal is to blend in with the outside world and look like us, look like any other human, choosing to go with the purple eyes is not gonna be helping your cause all that much. Artificial intelligence? More like artificial idiots. Do your homework. Humans don't tend to have purple eyes. I mean, seriously, you have a blue-eyed animatronic just waiting to go. Look, there's Foxy. He has brown/orange eyes. Great. Anyway, I digress. Who am I to judge? Maybe we're all just left to assume that Afton walks around in those cool colored contacts. Anyway, it's not just the eyes that give away Afton as the animatronic's meat puppet. His overall physicality has undergone a drastic change over the years as well. On page 418, we hear that Afton started off robust and lively, a hefty man who had the ruddy geniality of a financially shrewd Santa Claus.
I don't think it's bad. Pizza Sim definitely has like some of the best storytelling in the series. Sister Location, it is definitely more emotional and character driven, which is a huge plus. But you know what? Yeah, Sister Location is a good story. Yeah, It does.
Screwed Santa Claus,
You're
huh?
right.
No one said the writing of this
One of
book
the
was any
best.
good. There's clearly a reason why only 500 people made it
Also
all the way
Santa
through this book.
Claus.
And I say that because on Amazon Kindle, they actually show you the most popular highlighted sections, and like, they all drop off by midway through the book, so I can only assume that I'm the only person who made it all the way through. The things I
See, the thing is, I have the physical book, which I've read the whole thing, like before, so, like, peace be upon you, all of you. Hello, Turkey. Welcome to the stream. Thank you, mate.
For you. Anyway, soon after, our financially shrewd Santa Claus is accused of murder. He's released due to no bodies being found, and then he skips town. However, when he comes back, he's a changed person. Quote, Afton had been fat and affable. The man in the picture
Fat.
was sallow and thin, his skin sagging, and his expression unpleasant, as if he had forgotten how to smile. He looked like a poor facsimile of himself. End quote. So when he comes back to town, he's not only lost a ton of weight, but he looks like a poor copy of himself? So that's us reading the subtext of these lines, but you don't even have to read between those lines. Afton tells us directly in the quote I used at the top of this episode. Quote, and what makes you think they won't kill you? John said again. Because I'm one of them, he said. I mean, let's face it, it is hard to argue with that one. He is outright saying he is an animatronic. Reading the book the first time, you all assume it's like, oh, he has a kindred spirit with these animatronics because he loves them so much and he dresses as one and this and that. But oh no, after playing Sister Location, it takes on a whole new meaning. Now, there are two major complaints against the Afton theory. One, that Baby's first lines are,
I don't recognize you. You are new.
and two, that none of it makes sense if Afton bleeds out in Springtrap in FNAF 3. But there's an easy answer for both of these situations. First, think back to the FNAF world ending, where Desk Guy, who in our last episode we establish as Henry No Last Name Given, William Afton's partner in the Freddy Fazbear's franchise, confesses to building Baby. He's the creator, the one Baby would be most familiar with and not necessarily Afton. So Baby not recognizing Afton isn't all that much of a stretch. And regarding Purple Guy's death, we see in the book that William is covered in scars. Scars left
Yeah.
over from surviving one major round of Springtrap failures. Quote, Dave had been shirtless under the costume and now his bare chest was clearly visible. His skin was horribly scarred, with raised white lines that scored his flesh in a symmetrical pattern, each side of his body mirroring the other.
Dinner
He
time.
raised
Alright,
his
see you later,
arms
Zwar
and turned
Pumpkin.
slowly in a circle, giving Carlton ample time to see that the scars were everywhere. Also note that we never actually see Springtrap die in FNAF 3.
Yeah,
Just
no.
collapse into his own pool of blood and shiver there. The light never drains from his eyes. And Silver Eyes shows that it's not only possible, but that William has indeed survived a Springlock failure in the past. So could the FNAF 3 incident be the reason he has all those scars in the book? Absolutely. Also, according to the timelines, the events line up. All of the events of Silver Eyes take place in 1995, placing it long after any events that we've seen in the games thus far, with the exception of Fazbear's Fright, which may have been a hallucinogenic dream sequence anyway. So all in all, cool story, bro. We play as
Cool
Purple
story,
Guy
bro.
in Sister Location.
Thank you for selecting Casual Bongos.
But why? What does all this mean for the plot of the game? It actually explains a lot, but from here it also
Santa
tends to get
Claus.
really complicated. Because now we're dipping into the FNAF 4 surveillance footage, FNAF 4 locations being tied to Sister Location, child experimentation, and the identities of Baby and Ennard. So instead of rushing my way through it to get it all done in time, I'm gonna pause right here and hold all those explanations for the next episode. Now that we know who is playing the game, we need to know why
It's not
and
Afton.
how it affects
I mean,
the
it
rest
is
of
an
the
Afton.
series
It's Michael.
as we
It's
know
not
it.
William.
So click that basket of exotic butter to subscribe and be informed of when the next half of this theory comes out. And in the meantime, listen to these casual bongos and do me a favor and vote. Sister Location, yay or nay? Was this the game
Yay.
that you were waiting for, or did it end up under-delivering? Click on one to choose, and I'll let you know next time how y'all voted. And in the meantime, remember, it's all just
I
a
thought he wasn't gonna
theory.
do it for
A
some reason.
game theory. Thanks for watching.
Alright. So, that one. For the most part, it was alright. Just one teensy little issue. What the hell?
I just want.
No. One teensy little issue, though. One teensy, weensy, eensy little issue. Yeah. You're not playing as William Afton in Sister Location. Oh my god. You're playing as Michael. You're playing as Michael Afton. Otherwise, it's alright video. It's alright. It was alright. Pretty decent. Pretty good. Alright. Now we move on. This one's longer. 5 minutes longer than the last one. The last one was 13 minutes. This one is 18 now. So yeah. Game theory. The Killer's Promise. FNAF Sister Location. Let's get straight in. I remember this intro.
To be with her again.
It's me.
Don't you remember what you saw?
I remember this intro so well, so much. I have chips.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, 7 million theorists strong.
Yep.
And a lot of that is thanks to this franchise. More often than not, when I talk to people about their favorite episodes of this series, it's these. Young, old, it doesn't matter. The FNAF series was their first introduction. So I always feel a lot of pressure on these videos to deliver in a big way. You know, looking back, they're some of my personal favorites. Not only am I proud of the final product, but I'm proud of what...
Oh yeah. Hold on.
You know, looking back...
Oh, yeah, this is the first video. I decided to watch Mojo's top 10 best game theory videos ever, and I just saw Matpat reacted to it. I still don't understand why this one in particular, like the FNAF 1 theory, was the one that made #1 on the list and was the FNAF theory chosen for that. Due to its... Now, the only reason I'm, like, surprised is because of how controversial that theory actually is, like, in the FNAF community and Matpat haters. Like, of course it's really nostalgic to people. That's why there's people that like it, but at the same time, there's people that get upset to this very day about how it, like, tied real-life events to, like, to fucking FNAF, to time fucking... whoever the name of the survivor of the shooting was to fucking Golden Freddy. Like I still cannot believe that Watch Mojo didn't even consider like its controversial background or like controversial impact. Not like impact, but like there's like people that take it, whatever.
They're some of my personal favorites. Not only am I proud of the final products, but I'm proud of what they represent, as the FNAF series has been a true team effort, branching out across every person who has ever touched this channel, spanning every editor who's ever worked on an episode of Game Theory, getting you loyal theorists involved with pitching theories, and covering every style of theory that I personally write, from more IRL episodes to more lore-based ones. We've used everything from books to spin-off titles, real-world math and science to source code analysis, teaser images, trailer hints, and even US trademark data. Looking across this series, it's incredible the breadth that we've gone to. And to think, I almost never covered this series to begin with. It was going to be Slender, but then you guys, you loyal theorists, encouraged me to look into it. All based on a simple Twitter poll.
And then years later, the Slender Man theory was eventually released.
You guys made it happen, and the rest is history. Funny how life goes sometimes. Anyway, like I said, I feel a lot of responsibility with these episodes, but I think today is my favorite of the whole series, because now we finally have all the pieces necessary to tell a coherent plot. It's not just some corpse kids and silent puppets and mauve murderers who don't say anything. We have personalities now, actual character, and most
people still debate about to this day.
Of all, motivation. Motivations for why a serial killer would create a place like Sister Location. And believe it or not, the answer is actually quite sad. So the question of the day is, can a game make you feel sympathy for a child murderer? Because once you have the complete story, you might just see Purple Guy in a whole new light. One line across this entire franchise answers everything. I will put you back together. But before we get to all of that, let's back up a bit. Last time we established that William Afton, Purple Guy himself, is who you play as in Sister Location, and the one who eventually gets himself scooped. We also established that he once had a daughter who got herself killed at the hands, or should I say at the metal claw grip, of Baby. But there is so much more hidden in this game than that. By playing through the game and unlocking Sister Location's secret private room, players get treated to a shocking Easter egg. By typing the date 1983 into the keypad besides the monitors, the static blazes to life, revealing blurry footage of the FNAF 4 house. The plush trap hallway Foxy's closet, and creepiest of all,
The bed.
crying child's
That is
bed.
creepy
We also
shit.
get a clue as to
Stalker.
how this is being done. Sitting there on the desk is none other than our good old friend, psychic friend Fredbear.
He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who you gonna call? Second friend Fredbear.
A little less psychic this time and a little more plush, cradling what appears to be a remote control. Now, many have said that this is a walkie-talkie, but it is, in fact, a camera control. Notice the buttons on top. Those are switchers, allowing you to switch between the different cameras you have placed in the environment. The wheel on the bottom presumably allows you to turn the cameras or potentially focus them. The Fredbears from FNAF 4 are just that. Fredbear plushes equipped with hidden security cameras, something mothers are using all the time these days to monitor their children, and also getting themselves hacked while doing it. See
That is
also the
creepy,
Watch Dogs
sure.
episode. Creepy stuff. But that begs the question, why would anyone have remote monitoring of a child's bedroom programmed to run into a secret room in an underground animatronic storage facility? And also, why that house? Well, it's important to note that it's not just any house. It's a house that's connected to Circus Baby's Rentals. You heard that right. Sister location is under the FNAF 4 house. During the Freddy Breaker Room Challenge, we're presented with a map of the facility. We see the entrance elevator, main hub area, and the various holding rooms branching out all around it. But what we also see, more faintly, are 3 other areas. Maps that should look pretty familiar to fans of this series. The plush trap hallway, the path to Fredbear's, and the crying child's bedroom
Yep.
from FNAF 4. No joke. Just like the vent system maps from previous
And
games.
this was when Dream Theory was retcon.
The faded diagram would imply that all of this is located on a different level than sister location, i.e. above it. And as we can see, not just above it, but connected to it. In fact, while we were too busy freaking out over the ever-nearing Funtime Freddy, most gamers overlooked that as a part of that minigame, we were responsible for returning power to those areas of the map. They were even labeled Observation 1 and Observation 2. Observation? Observing what? It just gets creepier and creepier. Now, before you go saying that an underground facility attached to a house is far-fetched, it's actually something supported by the book in details I guarantee everyone overlooked while reading it. Page 118, our main character Charlie is outside her childhood home, which is also home to Henry, co-founder of Freddy's. While exploring her father's animatronic workshop, we get the following quote. She knelt again and put her hand on the ground, fishing around until she found a small screw in the bare dirt. She palmed it, then looked closer. There were small holes in the ground, exposed when she moved the loose dirt. Charlie ran her fingers over them, thoughtful, end quote. Tiny holes hidden under the dirt of an animatronic workshop, huh? It's an oddly specific detail that never gets mentioned again and never goes anywhere, but is one of those things that gets the theorist mind to tickle in. Because when I hear of mysterious holes in the ground in someone's private workshop, I think trapdoor, hidden trapdoor, or more accurately, secret entrances. Could this be a hint as to a secret entrance in Henry's animatronic workshop into sister location? In fact, we can prove using more details from the book that it is still being used by Afton. Earlier in that same chapter, Scott makes sure to drop a few more hints that seemingly never go anywhere, but we all know Scott better than that, right? And now that we have sister location to reference, these little details start to make a whole lot more sense. Quote, the benches were there where her father had assembled and tweaked his inventions, but the materials, the blueprints, and the half-finished robots that were once crammed onto every surface had disappeared. Where are they? End quote. So we have missing blueprints and partially finished bots that have just disappeared, but it continues. Quote, Charlie, John said from across the workshop, he was in the dark corner. If the skeleton had been there, it could have reached out to touch him, but it's not there. Notice the italics here. This isn't something that we're doing for effect in the video. This is actually straight from the book. Time and time again, Scott and the team working on this book are emphasizing these lines as though they're pointing to a greater mystery here, that someone has stolen these materials and are using them for their own devices, that they're hidden somewhere in this world. But it's a mystery that never gets solved within the pages of the book. But perhaps most importantly of all is a paragraph a few sentences later that pulls all these clues together and may finally give us an answer as to what is in the box.
The box.
The box. Quote, John was standing beside her father's toolbox, and he stepped away as she came over, giving her space. Charlie knelt down before it. It looked as if it had just been polished. It was made of dark, stained wood. glossy. All the tools were polished and clean. They looked as though they had just been used that morning, wiped down and put away meticulously, like someone still cared for them. End quote. Stolen blueprints, missing robots, pristine tools despite supposedly going unused for 10 years, hints at a trap door and William Afton lingering around the town in disguise.
Moment.
Quite simply, the pieces here add up. But again, that's hints that we can glean from the book. The bigger question here is, why would Afton be spying on the FNAF 4 house in the games? Well, because it's his. As we established last episode, you play as Purple Guy, and each night you go back to your retro-themed house. At first, these cutscenes seem like they should just be absurd breaks from the spoopy action of the main game.
Clara, the baby
isn't mine.
But look closer and you notice the details of the room. In particular, a very ugly lamp. A very ugly, very familiar lamp. One that we saw in, you guessed it, FNAF 4. In other words, this is Afton's house. And from his underground private room, he's observing his kids. Crying child, the older brother, and the girl who eventually becomes baby. As I suspected in my prediction video for this game, this truly is a sister location. A sister's location. And from there, all the parts start to fit together. So let's retell this story from the beginning now that we have all the pieces. Remember what will happen if he catches you. It's a line we hear repeated over and over again throughout FNAF 4, and now we know why. Crying Child has seen Golden Bonnie abduct children multiple times in the past. This moment in the back room that we all debated about whether or not it was a murder is in fact a child kidnapping. Silver Eyes proves it, as it shows that Purple Guy kills by trapping the kids in spring-lock suits. Quote, Carlton was wedged inside the heavy, barrel-shaped torso of a mascot costume, the headless top half of some kind of animal. His arms were trapped inside the torso section, pinned to his sides in an unnatural position. He could feel pieces of metal that pressed against his back and poked him. Dave said to Carlton, if you trigger those spring locks, two things will happen. First, all the locks will snap right into you, making deep cuts all over your body. And a split second later, all the animatronic parts they've been holding back will instantly be driven into your body. You'll die, but it will be slow. Having witnessed a scene similar to this, the boy is justifiably terrified, trying to avoid the pizzeria at all costs. But it's kinda hard when your father is one of the owners. Meanwhile, William Afton knows that he's been found out, hence the observation monitors and security Fredbears. He needs to be sure of his son's movements, even when he's at work, be it above ground or below. I mean, the guy may be a killer, but it's not like he could just kill his son, even if he was the witness to a gruesome murder at the restaurant. But Afton's problem gets solved prematurely with the fatal chomp of 83, a son William loved killed by the very animatronics he also loved, leading us to one fateful promise. I will put you back together. We've analyzed this line a lot in past theories because it's not only the final lines of FNAF 4 and FNAF World, thereby making it super important to this franchise, but because it's also presented to us in a different color than Fredbear's yellow. Someone else is talking here. And now we can finally pinpoint who said it, and more importantly, why. It was Afton. I will put you back together. A promise to fix his son, a broken son, in the only way that he knows how, animatronics. Enter sister location and the Funtime animatronics, not built for entertainment or for being worn, but built to help Purple Guy save his son. Built for capture. Although no one has yet found how to unlock them in the game, if you dig through the sister location files, you find a set of blueprints for the various animatronics, outlining their size and special features. Not only are they enormous, topping 7 feet in some instances, certainly—
I still can't believe Baby is fucking taller than Ballora. That just doesn't sit right with me. Oh, there's new chat messages I haven't even seen because it doesn't update for some reason. Hello, Ghost Boy Return. Have you heard about it? Into the Pit? Yeah, I did hear about that. Into the Pit getting a game adaptation. I'm excited for that, actually. I think that would be pretty cool. I like the original story as well, so yeah. I don't know if it's me, but everything sounds kind of. What? Best stream for me to watch on Tuesday night after college. Nice. His FNAF 1 theory and his first Petscop theory are terrible. I haven't seen his first Petscop theory, but I can definitely agree that his first FNAF 1 theory is kind of questionable. Yeah, the book was already good, I agree. Was that the Bite of 87?
bigger than a small child, but they're also equipped with things like 360-degree tracking, parental voice mimicking, and storage tanks. Look closer at the wireframes and you see that the storage tank isn't quite empty. Yeah, that's a child in there, curled up, hidden in Fredbear's stomach, captured alive, ready to be experimented on. Because Purple Guy is no longer killing to satisfy himself, he's doing it to recover his son, to figure out the secret of fusing souls into animatronics. You heard me. Afton wants to unlock the mystery of giving gifts, giving life. And if that seems like a stretch, just look at the number of sentient, independent, and fully aware robots in Sister Location. You not only have the core set, but there's also the baby babies and the mini Renas. Tens of sentient animatronics moving against their programming. And unlike past games where we received explanations like anti-criminal systems, dying guys in murder suits, or the products of a nightmare, here they just kinda exist. Why? Well, Baby tells us over and over in the trailer for Sister Location.
I mean, Freddy Freddy does seem like he'd hide birthday cake and snacks inside his stomach, possibly. I mean, in Help 1 and 2, I know it's Glamrock Freddy, so it's not a fun time, it's a Glamrock, but you have Glamrock Freddy hiding cakes and shit in his stomach hatch in Help 1 and 2, so maybe it serves a similar, maybe it could serve as that purpose as well.
Before the game's release, we had no idea, but now we do know what they've been through. Experiments and controlled shocks. Dozens, and I mean dozens of children captured as the Funtime animatronics executed on the programming that told them to collect. Also that Afton could learn the secret to reawakening lost souls. As we see in Silver Eyes, he knows it's possible as he's not shocked at all when the animatronics come to life at night. Quote, "They're home with me." Dave's voice was coarse, and the large mascot head slid forward and tilted as he spoke. Their happiest day. All they know is that you're here, trying to take away their happiest
the type of guy
day.
to sneak a child on an amusement park ride that they're
and as evidenced by the animatronics crawling throughout Sister Location, he succeeds in his goal. But in doing so, he pays the ultimate price, losing the second of his children, his daughter, when she ignores his warnings to stay away from the robots. A daughter whose soul goes on to possess Baby, as evidenced by the eye color shift from blue in the minigame to green in all the other times that we ever get to see Baby. Now flash forward to the beginning of Sister Location, a place where, as we're told in the trailer, memories sleep, anger is restless, and secrets don't keep. The children's spirits are mad and eager to get out, but how does a ragtag group of sentient robots escape? Even if they made it to the surface, giant endoskeletons roaming around would be like the coming of Terminator 2, and humans don't take kindly to that sort of thing. And so they've been forced to concoct a sneakier plan to escape. They've put together their individual abilities Afton programmed into them, like Freddy's voice mimic and Bellora's misdirection tactics, to create a new entity, the collective consciousness known as Ennard. A tangle of wires and eyeballs that serves as their final hope. And we know it's all the animatronics together because it refers to itself as we.
There is nowhere to go when we look like this.
As the teaser said, there was a part of him in every body, after all. Throughout the 5 nights, Ennard uses those various skills and pretends in order to gain our trust, using the voice mimic to sound like Baby and be sympathetic, adopting the voice of the little green-eyed girl to make us compelled to move forward.
I just love the obvious cutout of Elizabeth. The obvious background cutout.
And save her, but it's all a trick. And by night 5, they cleared out all the evidence, killing the other technicians so that no one can speak of the haunted animatronics. But note that those guys haven't been scooped. They've saved that honor specifically for you, the Purple Guy. The reason they're stuck there in the first place. Using Baby's voice, they push you into the scooping room, remove your skeleton, and inhabit your body. And as we see in the final scene, their escape is successful. The Purple Guy, a serial killer father trying to put his son back together, is killed by the exact monsters he first created. But not in an unhappy way. He achieved what he wanted, being reunited with his children. Page 411 of Silver Eyes. Quote, "The voice of the rabbit was smooth and rich, almost musical. Dave cocked his head to the side so that only one of his bulbous eyes could peer through the sockets. We both wanted to love," he said in those melodious tones. "Your father loved, and now I have loved." End quote. But hey, that's
just a theory.
A game theory.
There's 2 more minutes of this, though.
Thanks for watching. Welcome back to the
Super amazing end card tournament.
Where last time I asked you whether you thought Sister
Alright,
Location
is
was
it?
scary good or frighteningly bad. Survey said 97,000 votes for Sister Location and 30,000 against. So it looks like y'all felt
Again, the fucking reception for the game at the time was like overly positive, but nowadays it's like mixed.
that Scott got his group
Same with FNAF 2.
back with this one. The follow-up question for today: which animatronic is your favorite? Maybe it's the scariest. Maybe
Entered.
it's the one you most identify with. Maybe it's the one you're most excited about yiffing. Hey, no judgment
Oh my
here.
God.
You yell and sniff all you want.
Oh
So
my
every
god.
reason, just click
They
on
shifted Freddy's reference.
At this point, there's like 1,000. So let's just
I know that because like he streamed Day Shifted Freddy's and made the exact same joke. Gifting,
down to the
sniffing, whatever.
essentials, and you can include all versions of that character. So here we go. Your options are Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy/Mangle, Golden Freddy /Fredbear, Springtrap, and Baby.
Out of these, Bonnie, but of all time, entered.
Apologies to all you Balloon Boy and Ballora fans out there. Seriously though, are you out there? Seems like those two in particular
Balloon Boy
just
fans
don't
exist.
fit in anywhere. Anyway, click on one of the options to cast your vote. And once you're done,
Yeah, I
you have
vote
2
Bonnie.
options. Number 1, go and check out the FNAF playlist.
Yeah, for me it would be Bonnie, then Springtrap, then Freddy, then Mangle, then Foxy, then Golden Freddy, then Chica, and then Baby.
List on the channel. Binge watch
Don't
that
yiff
sucker
the
because
fox.
honestly, it's a lot of fun to look back at those old theories and see just how far we've all evolved in our thinking about
Yeah.
this game. Each episode
Yeah,
is
evolved.
like a little time capsule. And you're like, oh yeah, I
That is true. Like, rewatching these is like a fucking time capsule. Like, especially in order.
remember when there was only 4 animatronics and everyone was like, whoa, Golden Freddy is blowing my mind right now. Or
Yeah.
option 2, if you're looking for a break from FNAF, might I recommend to you Salad Fingers over on the Film Theory channel.
Salad
Seriously,
Fingers
if you
is
like
good.
FNAF, then you will love my Salad Finger theories. It's creepy, it's mysterious, and it is ripe for theorizing. And it's brand new with part 2 of that theory coming out today, assuming you're one of the people watching this theory the day it comes out. In fact, you know what?
Watching
Here's
this
a
like
link to
7
go
years later.
directly
But I've
there.
seen this
It's
video
perfect
before,
viewing
so.
for Halloween weekend. Now, if you excuse me, I've got some Metroid and Mario theories in the works that have been on the back burner because of FNAF. So get ready for those. Enough jump scares for one Halloween. It is time we move on to some new theories. See
Yeah.
ya next week.
But yeah, I vote Bonnie, even though this is like 7 years old. But yeah, pretty solid video. Still am not a fan of how he's saying William Afton is the player in Sister Location. And that's not true. But it's whatever. I don't fucking. Anyway, this next one is literally on my birthday of 2017, April 29th, 2017. So it was after custom night and before Pizza Sim. So yeah. Play this for a bit. Just to figure out, I was hoping we do like all of the Sister Location till UCN theories, sort of as like a, you know, its own era thing, like an era thing. But we could just like wrap it up with Pizza Sim. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll just keep going for as long as we can. We'll just keep going for as long as I want to. I think that sounds like the plan. Alright. So, game theory, FNAF, we were wrong about the bite.
Father, it's me, Michael. I found it. It was right where you said it would be. There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you.
Nope. Nuh-uh, not touching it. No, sirree, Bob. No way. You can mechanically wheeze all you want, Michael Eggs Benedict, Afton, Purple Guy, Jingleheimer, Schmidt, but I am not. I am not spending another 20 minutes trying to piece together whether you're Springtrap, whether you're Purple Guy, whether you're a second Purple Guy, and whether all of this requires yet another rewrite of the timeline. I am not doing it. At least not until the next book comes out in June. Nope, no siree, doggo. Today, the series...
No, wait.
It's not until the next book comes out in June. Nope, no siree, doggo.
Direct doggo.
Today, the series that prompted lore-based theories to flood this channel is getting the old-school game theory treatment. That's right. Today, I'm tackling the science of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Burn, burn. The science. This is like nostalgic, bro. The editing contrasts with the intro and
Internet.
the FNAF
Welcome to Game Theory, where today's Freddy theory is going to be a bit different. No source code deep dives, no rooting around for obscure hidden Easter eggs, only hardcore real-life research.
Character.
Oh, but speaking of the source code, something
interested now.
really fascinating is going on right now. Scott Cawthon's two websites are having a conversation. Scott Games is saying things like, "You're crowding us.
God.
You can't tell us what to do."
I remember when, like, this is for Pizza Sim. Again, you have to look at this shit to know what's going on with Molten Freddy and Scrap Baby in Pizzeria Simulator, which is fucking horse shit. Horse shit. Oh my god.
Do anymore. We outnumber you. And the
One of my
FNAF
only
World
flaws
website
with
is
Pizza
replying
Sim when
with,
it
"Be
comes to
quiet.
story."
Yes, I can. You will do everything that I tell you to do." Which makes it seem like FNAF 6, Sins of the Father, it's my title, feel free to use it, Scotty C, is gonna be like an all-out animatronic Civil War-style battle against the OG creator William, aka Spring.
How did you predict Ultimate Custom Night? Dude. Okay, I know it's not like FNAF 6, it's like FNAF 7 Ultimate Custom Night, but it was going to be part of FNAF 6. Bro, Matpat be predicting this shit, except instead of like 7 years later with like movie and like how Ruin tells its story, it's like a year later. Like a year after. But bro, fucking predicting the plot of Ultimate Custom Night. What the fuck? It's literally like a whole bunch of animatronics versus William Afton. Oh my god, dude. What is it with like Matpat and just like predicting everything? Not with like the theories or lore of the game he's talking about specifically, but like stuff in the future. Like Ultimate. I'm not complaining though. That's like fucking impressive that he predicted Ultimate Custom Night before FNAF 6 even came out. Bro. He'd be the Simpsons of like FNAF, bro. He's like predicting the future.
Trap Afton. How awesome would that be? Title, gameplay, boom, done. Feel free to use that idea as well. Meanwhile, in other FNAF updates, since a lot of you have been asking me on Twitter about my thoughts on this, the movie got itself canceled and then found itself a new production partner, Blumhouse Productions. The same guys who did Paranormal Activity, Oculus, The Purge, Get Out. Honestly, I think it's great news. Blumhouse has made a name for themselves by doing awesome movies on really teeny tiny budgets, and FNAF as an indie franchise needs that cheaply made indie vibe to really make it scary. It doesn't need a big studio like Warner Brothers, where it used to be, going in and meddling and trying to make it more family friendly so they can go in and sell more FNAF toys and it becomes the next Minions or something. Low budget is the way to go because it forces you to get creative. So this news made me excited for the movie. A video game movie based on FNAF. Seriously, all the subs to film
he finally gives
better
credit
get themselves
to
ready for a heap and helping a Freddy when that movie rolls around. Anyway, enough subs to film theorists. Better get themselves ready for a heap and helping a Freddy when that movie
and that's what they got.
rolls around. Anyway, enough updates. I think that covers all the FNAF related things that you guys have been asking me about on Twitter. On to the episode. This week, I'm covering a topic I've wanted to do since the release of
14
FNAF 4 back in
exists.
2015,
Yep.
and never had the opportunity to because I was always so busy trying to piece together the damn lore, and that is, can an animatronic actually kill you? Since, you know, this series has a lot of animatronics, and a
Really
whole lot of death at the
Yep.
hands of animatronics. But more specifically, I want to focus on the bite. You know the one I'm talking about. Whether or not you believe this moment to be the
I
bite
love
of
the step back
83
for
or
this
the
one.
bite of 87, whether or not the date really even matters anymore, one thing is clear. This is the moment that set in motion everything else in these games. Based on the evidence coming from 6 games and the Silverized book, William Afton, creator of the animatronics, suffers this tragedy where his son's head gets crushed in a childhood bullying incident. A few days later, the son dies of his wounds in his hospital bed, setting in motion Afton's quest to, quote, put him back together. Cut to
him back
scooping,
together.
sister locations, a dead daughter, and more missing children than you can shake a basket of exotic butters at, and all
Exotic
because
butters.
of this one moment. The bite is treated as a freak accident, something that couldn't have been helped. The horrific ending of an innocent childhood prank gone wrong. A series filled with haunted puppets and reincarnated skin suits starts with this. Just a random tragic incident that nobody could have stopped. A simple mechanical failure. Remember, this is before any of the suits are haunted. It's still just a regular old animatronic. But is that really true? Does a regular old animatronic actually have the ability to crush a child's skull? Or is there something a bit more sinister going on here? Let me just say this. I will never look at my last sister location theories the same way again. And it's all thanks to the results of this episode's research. To begin to piece
That
together the
entered on
real
that
danger
thumbnail
these
is so
Disney
creepy to
rejects
me.
pose, we need to
Oh my
understand
God,
what makes
Disney
them
rejects.
so dangerous in the first place. Sure, it might be easy to assume that Golden Fredbear and Golden Bonnie here are so deadly because they're spring-lock suits, but as we hear about in FNAF 3's phone calls, the locks are only used to hold back the sharp, pointy innards so they could be worn in suit mode.
Change the animatronic
Drugs
to
to suit mode.
Insert and turn firmly the hand crank provided by the manufacturer. Turning the crank will recoil and compress the animatronic parts around the sides of the suit, providing room to climb inside. Please make sure the spring locks are fastened tight to ensure the animatronic devices remain fixed.
It's also something that we witness up close and personal during Night 4 of FNAF's sister location.
Yep.
The spring locks hold back the robotic innards, and them unsnapping and releasing the mechanism is what makes them so deadly. But during FNAF 4's bite, Golden Freddy is already in robot mode. There would be no spring locks activated. They would not be snapping shut. To put it simply, the robot is operating like any normal animatronic would be, meaning that
Yeah.
the danger is coming not from some weird, unique detail of FNAF-verse-style robots, but rather from the same mechanisms that exist in any animatronic, be it in a fictional pizzeria to the creepy remnants of Big
The
Bear
bite could be
Jamboree heads
real.
looking down at you from the Winnie the Pooh ride in Disneyland.
Oh my
Go ahead,
God.
look it up. There's some nightmare fuel for you. Or better yet, if you're at Disneyland leaving the Heffalump and Woozle section of the ride, look behind you and look up. Ho ho! Prepare for a surprise. Anyway, all things considered, to truly unwrap this theory, we need to know how normal animatronics actually work. Enter a man named Vern Grainer, an engineer who used to build robots for Chuck E. Cheese. Turns out, how these things are built is actually a closely guarded trade secret. So I can pronounce my awas. But in an article he did for Nuts and Bolts magazine back in 2009, he confirmed that almost every entertainment robot on the planet is built from one core technology: pneumatic actuators. What are those? Well, yo, listen up then. Ya homies know that when all the sickest ballers want to pimp out their bangin' rides, yo, they install hydraulic lifts in their undercarriage, like Ramon from the Cars movie. Well, where
Ramon.
hydraulics use oil and fluid dynamics to do that sweet lifting, yo, pneumatics use air pressure. You build up a bunch of air pressure and then release it. That release
It is-
moves
yeah, it is a
whatever
true
you
fact.
want. A piston, a pulley, the deadly grin of a lifeless singing bear. They're used in everything from robots to
Freddy.
build cars to the
Freddy be
jaws of,
goofy.
well, Jaws at Universal Studios. Now, Grainer doesn't specify how powerful pneumatic actuators in a Chuck E. Cheese-style robot's mouth would be, but we can go ahead and calculate a rough estimate. Whereas other actuators in the body and legs would have to be more powerful since they're moving larger, heavier chunks of robot, the ones in the mouth are smaller, more delicate. They only have to move a couple of ounces of plastic and metal for the jaws, teeth, and cheeks. The pneumatic tubes themselves are also only a couple inches long, meaning that they can only build up so much air pressure. pressure. All things considered, you're only gonna need about 40 psi of air pressure max to do all of that. That's not a whole lot. It's like the pressure created from a strong breeze. So how the heck do a handful of small pistons powered by air create enough force to crack a child's skull wide open? They can't. You see, crushing a human skull ain't easy. The 22 bones of the human skull are there to protect the most important organ in our body from damage. And the whole thing has got a rounded structure to help disperse any forces applied to it. The strongest boxer in the world could punch you in the head at full force and it barely crack. But this perfectly normal Chuck E. Cheese wannabe not only cracks the crying child's head, but breaks through hard enough to cause severe trauma to the brain? How much force is needed to do that? Well, it's actually a tricky question. First, we gotta ask, how old is the victim? When you're first born, the skull is softer, moldable, since, you know, it has to pass through narrow lady bits. Once it's made that journey, it has to be able to accommodate for your growing brain. So it has these soft spots called fontanelles to give the skull flexibility. So I immediately thought that our crying child birthday boy might be a bit easier of a nut to crack considering how young he is, but the research didn't pan out that way. The soft spots disappear or ossify by the time that you're 9 to 18 months old. And I don't care how heartless of a killer you are, purple guy, you ain't letting your 1-year-old hobble his way home after a day of sitting terrified in a broom closet. Second, to answer the question I had
he's
to
at
ask,
least
what
like
parts of
5
the skull
or
are we
above.
talking about? Because different sections have different thicknesses, and as a result,
He's
different
not 5,
lengths.
but like
According
he's
to
at
research
least
done
above
by
5.
Tobias Matei, who studied children's bike helmets and how they protect the skull, the thinnest region of the skull bone is about where your temples
I'd say he's like
are.
8 or
Lo and
some
behold,
shit.
that's exactly where our crying child is seeing most of the damage done. When he's placed in Golden Fredbear's mouth by the bullies, he's facing outward towards us, mostly facing the camera, meaning that the weaker sides of his skull are the ones that are having to deal with the crushing forces of the teeth. So
Was that the
I looked it up.
587?
To fracture the skull there would require the equivalent of a 1,100-pound man or 500-kilogram woman, equal opportunity, not being sexist here, to step on the head in
Wait,
that
he was in the
exact
shower.
spot. But then
Oh
again,
my
that's
God.
just to have the thing
They're not
fractured.
Freddy
We're
with a
talking
buzzsaw.
about a
The fuck?
catastrophic head failure that impacts the brain. So we have to get a bit more specific and a bit harder of a bite. Luckily, I found a study looking into exactly that. Testing over 300 samples, some scientific madmen determined that human skull bone, when put under various kinds of stress, had a failure pressure of 1900 psi or 13
God.
megapascals. 13 megapascals means that for every square meter of surface area, it takes 13 million newtons of force to break a skull open. Now, obviously, that number is hard to imagine without me giving you a real-world example of what it feels like. The challenge, though, is to accurately represent that pressure, we need to know how that pressure is being delivered. If I'm delivering a lot of pressure onto a small point, it's gonna do a lot more damage than if I deliver that same amount of pressure across a wider surface area. Think of it like the difference of stepping onto a single nail versus laying on a bed of nails. One's
Oh my
a bloody
God.
good party trick. The other is just bloody. So think about it this way.
Yeah.
1 megapascal of pressure is about the pressure of an average human bite. We're talking 13 times that. That is a lot of pressure. And in our case, that pressure is being delivered by small animatronic teeth clamping down on either side of the crying child's head. So a whole lot more like that single nail example than the bed of nails. But to find out just how powerful and deadly these teeth are, we're gonna need one thing: pixel measurements. We need to know the
Pixel.
surface area of Freddy's teeth so that we can figure out how much force minimum those teeth are delivering. Now, obviously, we're gonna have to approximate a bit since the game contains no real measurements to go off of, so instead I started with Freddy's face. It's an Easter egg I never really addressed in the theories, but way back in vanilla FNAF 1, lots of theorists were talking about an oddly shaped smudge on Freddy's face. This smudge is in the shape of a handprint. Now granted, it isn't a golden suit, but as we see in that game, the two are comparable in size. Given that the average human hand is about 18.89 centimeters long, we can use this handprint to scale everything else. Freddy's head then is 32 centimeters wide, or about twice as wide as an adult human's head, which makes a lot of sense. You need something big enough to serve as a costume. Now, using a combination of images from different angles, we can use this to determine the dimensions of one tooth, which comes to 1.4 square centimeters. It looks like he was bitten with 8 teeth. 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom. This gives us a total surface area of
This is actually, like, pretty cool.
11.26
Pretty cool
square
video in
centimeters.
theory.
So, using the power of math, we can
Math.
use this figure to
Math.
determine how much force each tooth is biting
in a
down
math
with.
lab.
And that number is bone-chilling. 14,758 newtons. Why is that a bone-chilling number? Because that's the strength that a full-grown crocodile bites with. It's almost the strength of a great white shark
Oh my
bites.
God.
In order to deliver that amount of force, you would need 2 high-end industrial-strength pneumatic actuators. These things are as long as your arm, and they need their own dedicated compressors pumping out 100 pounds per square inch. I mean, your own teeth would crack if you bit down with that kind of force. And it is most certainly way overkill for moving the mouth of some cheap mascot at a sad sack-themed restaurant. It's almost like someone built these things to intentionally be deadly. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is our smoking gun. When we last covered the lore of this series, myself, as well as other FNAF theorists like Treacicle and Dawko, concluded that William Afton was driven to his murderous rampage by tragic circumstances. His son was killed in the jaws of that machine, and so he dedicated his life to twisted experimentation on other children to bring his son back. Sure, it doesn't mean that William Afton kidnapping and killing tons of kids is okay, but it does make us sympathize with him a little. He was driven to madness by this immense sadness. But if all this science today is truly correct, it proves that he was a madman all along. That even in the earliest days of Fredbear's Family Diner, William was making suits designed to kill, with mechanisms way overpowered for what they were meant to do. Any normal animatronic would have left the crying child with a few scratches, maybe some psychological...
Yeah, but, like, the thing is like, he probably wasn't making them just so they could kill, because, like, realistically, the fact that, like, Michael and his friends were, like, and the bullies, like, put the crying child in Fredbear's mouth was, like, that's, like, a one-time thing. Like, people don't usually fucking do that. That's not what you, like, I don't think, like, Afton was intending for that to happen. William was intending that to happen. So I don't think he was making them just so something like that could happen. You know, I don't think, like, it was, what I'm trying to say is I don't think it was intentional.
Scars, but that's
William
about
Afton,
it. He'd be alive. But Afton, being the psychopath that he is, had other intentions. Not only did he create a deadly system with the spring locks, but even the basic robotics of his mascots were built to kill. Something that he would continue to do throughout his career, particularly with the Funtime series. We all thought it was
like, you don't see kids or people putting other people or kids into, like, mouths at the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics, right? Like, that's not a thing that should be happening. So it's like, clearly that wasn't the intention of William. Sure, he may have gone overboard with, like, designing these and programming these and, like, everything, but, like, I don't think he was doing it just so something like, because I don't think he did it with the thought that something like this would fucking happen. So I don't think William is, like, entirely, like, evil for, like, this specifically. He's evil for the murders, obviously, but, like, I think this is, like, something that, like, I guess I could defend William a little bit on. Like, he wasn't making these animatronics. Why is it buffering? He wasn't making these animatronics to, like, cause bites or murders or whatever. It does beg the question that why he went overboard with, like, the fucking pressure and energy with, like, biting, whatever.
Freak accident that killed Afton's son.
Or you could argue it's like fucking the original Dormammus, where fucking William/Garvey pays Michael to fucking cause the bite of 83, but, like, that's not no, that's stupid.
At the end of the day, this death was completely avoidable. It was all Afton's fault. He only has his own twisted experiments to blame, claiming first his son and eventually his daughter too. Man, I gotta say, that really bites. But hey, that's just a theory. A game
The original
theory.
Punisher.
Thanks for watching.
Punisher.
6 whole months since a FNAF theory? Wow, time flies. It's actually really nice to cover the series again with fresh eyes.
There was
I
one
even
after
figured out
that.
some new lore bits
What?
while working on this one. Stuff that I'm sure will show up in the next FNAF theory coming this summer. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure that you bite down hard on that subscribe button in 3, 2, 1. Crunch! And hey, might I recommend clicking the video that you see on screen right now? It's actually the first video that I did on FNAF. It's actually really interesting to see how the series have changed in that amount of time. Anyway, that's it for today. I will see you all, or at least the number of you who enjoy our theories that aren't FNAF related, next week.
Alright, so got a little bit to talk about. With that one. Alright, so obviously okay. Now, up until like the end, I was really digging what he was talking about. I really liked how he did the math on like of the bites and everything. That shit was cool. I loved that shit a lot of the video, and I still consider it a really good video because of that. It's just like obviously, I don't agree with how like I just can't agree with how he like fully blames Afton or William for like the bite because of like the energy or pressure that was coming from like the bite or whatever. Like he was saying that like how he was basically implying that like the Fredbear and Spring Bonnie were built, animatronics were built just so that bite could happen or whatever, or something like that could happen, when I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case because like people don't just do that. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. That's not a regular thing that happens. Like, I don't think it'd be on Afton's mind that like his kid would fucking put his other kid in his fucking mouth. Like, I really doubt that, and I kind of don't like that part of the video. But like everything else was like really fucking good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was the Foxy kid's fault. Exactly. I know, it's not. It is not his fault. That's what I'm trying to say. Matpat was arguing in the end that it was, but like, no, it's not. It's not his fault, you're right. That reminds me of the one viral video where some guy put his head inside the mouth of a tree animatronic, and then people put the Markiplier bite of 87 meme on. Jesus Christ. Or 78. Oh. But, yeah. Overall, really good video. Really good theory up until the end. That kind of was annoying. But otherwise, really good. Enjoyed it. Heavily, actually. Alright. I did like how the video was just like him taking it a step back a notch and just like doing the math on shit in FNAF, answering questions. It's like old game theory. Really good. Anyway, I think we might as well get on to the next one, which is probably be the last one I'll watch today, and then we'll save it until hopefully next Monday for part 3. So yeah. Right. So, game theory, FNAF. The answer was right in front of us. FNAF's location, and this was July 2020. No, 2020. Fuck, July 2017. So this was still before Pizza Sim. So this is a sister location theory, predominantly, probably.
I am Springtrap.
Yeah.
A horde of the Balloon Boys emerged from the cave, shaking back and forth on unsteady feet, their pointed teeth chattering loudly as they wobbled forward with staring eyes. Not again! I hate these things, Jessica cried. You and me both, sister. You and me both. Up top. Can't high-five me up top because you're a fictional character. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where...
Oh my god.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. FNAF 6 is canceled. Looks like I had more staying power than you, Scotty C. Let's be honest, though. It's gonna be more delayed than canceled.
Yeah.
Really. And there's still the movie, the merch, a second book just released, a third book coming soon, and a fourth one on the way. So just like the animatronics, the series itself keeps getting reborn in new forms with increasingly absurd names. Withered Freddy, Nightmare Chica, Not So Fun Time Franchise. Speaking of ridiculous new names for the same old cast animals, let's talk about the latest addition to the roster, the Twisted animatronics.
Oh, this is
Stars
about the Twisted
of the new
ones.
FNAF book that came out at the end of June. Now, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, this is gonna be about the illusion discs, isn't it? I think I remember. Shit. So if the last one was on my birthday of 2017, I started uploading videos a few days after. So this is the first ever FNAF game theory video post me starting YouTube, or starting uploading YouTube. This is, and I think I've watched this before, so like, yeah, this is about the illusion disc, I'm pretty sure.
This book was definitely a step up from the first. It had 200 less pages. Oh, sing bird, y'all!
Half the length of the first 4-star.
You need a calendar, man! I mean, don't take that as too high of a compliment. In 200 pages, you still had a college robotics major going to the scene of a murder and then touching the victim, getting blood all up on her hands, and no one on the police force even batting an eye over the blatant crime scene tampering that was happening. Then there's the fact that in the book, multiple balloon boys, including BB, JJ, and whatever other ridiculous combination of letters you can come up with, are canon too. But you know what? I still gotta appreciate lines like page 183. You never know when a corpse may wander out of the shadows wearing a rabbit suit. Even the books have become self-aware of their own absurdity at this point. Now, at this point, Scott has made it clear that the books and the games are separate canons. And while that may be true, both are still shambling their way out of Scott's mind brain. We all know that Scott leaves plenty of holes in his stories. Details or events that are left purposefully vague so that we can theorize to fill in those gaps. But what's interesting is that he leaves different holes in each series. And by looking at the two series in tandem, those holes start to fill themselves in with events from the sister series. The sister location! No, just no. Anyway, reading Twisted Ones was like reading the crib notes for Sister Location, because a lot, and I mean a lot of that game's weirdness became more and more clear as I turned more and more pages. So FNAF 6 may be dead, but we're gonna go back to beat the dead horse animatronic that is Sister Location. Can we name it Horsey? Horsey, the dead horse animatronic. Can we just beat it every time we do an episode about one of these games? Great. Dead horse animatronic Horsey one final time, because thanks to the Twisted Ones, we have all the information we need to help that game make just a little bit more sense. First, how do we know that this book is anywhere close to related to Sister Location? Well, it's easy. The answer's in the title, The Twisted Ones. The recurring threat in the book are these so-called twisted animatronics. But even though we're supposed to think that this is a new breed of killer robot, they're not. Not at all, in fact. We've seen them before in Sister Location. Check out this description and let me know if it sounds familiar. Page 90. The creature had no fur and its face was smooth. It had a short muzzle and oval ears sticking out from the sides of its head. It had the general appearance of an animal's head, though much larger than the animatronic animals from Freddy's. Running down the center of its face was a long, straight split, exposing wires and a line of metal frame. A thick plastic material was stuck to the face in large patches. So the Twisted animatronics have a plastic-like covering and a face that splits open. It certainly sounds like the aesthetic of the Funtime animatronics, but it doesn't stop there. These guys were built to be big because their mission is to capture children. Like Pokeballs. out for revenge. Page 140. Freddy's face slid across the bed like a python. His head lost its shape as it folded outward, taking hold of her feet and beginning to swallow, moving slowly upward as she fought not to scream or fight, his cheeks and chin dislocating further. It no longer resembled a living thing. Before she could struggle further, her arms were pinned to her side, trapped inside the thing. Only her head remained free. She gasped for a last breath, then was violently scooped up, consumed by the creature. She done got scooped. Pages later, she was inside a cavity made for a human being, but the suit was moving with complete autonomy. In case you've forgotten, this is exactly what we see in Sister Location's hidden animatronic blueprints. Oversized robots with special containment features to lure in and trap small children. Even the description for how people get scooped into the animatronics is reminiscent of Sister Location's horrific ice cream minigame with Baby. Page 92. The animatronic's arms lifted and its chest opened like an iron gate. Its metal pieces slid out of place to reveal a dark, gaping pit where sharp spikes and spring locks were just barely visible. It was a trap, waiting to be triggered. She beat against its bent and damaged arm, but the other arm steadily forced her closer to the chest cavity. So why does any of this, and the Twisted Ones as a whole book, matter in the context of the FNAF games? Well, in the opening sequence of Sister Location, we hear that the Funtime animatronics were built by William Afton.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
A guy who, up to that point in the series, had only been named in the first book, Silver Eyes. By the end of the book, we learn that William is Purple Guy, the killer who kidnaps kids while wearing a golden Bonnie suit. But Silver Eyes also introduced us to other important characters for the FNAF series as a whole, including Henry, no last name given, William's partner and the more creative half of the company, the one who actually created the animatronics. So after reading Silver Eyes, we were left with William, the business guy who doesn't create robots but does kill children, and Henry, the creator who does create robots but doesn't kill children. Got all that? Good. Now, in my FNAF 5 Decoded video, I drew parallels between Henry and a mysterious figure that we saw during a secret cutscene of FNAF.
This one everybody
both
loves.
of whom create animatronics and commit suicide. Long story short, in the game, he ends his own life because he created Baby, a robot that he's ashamed of. In the book, why Henry kills himself is still a big part of the mystery. Now, if you want more information about the parallels between these two characters, click the eye icon in the upper right-hand corner of the screen because I go more in-depth there. But after that video, it seemed like a lock. We finally had some solid leads as to who these key players in the games were, and the clues were coming from Silver Eyes. But then that opening cinematic from Sister Location played the first time we all booted up the game. Afton acknowledged that he was the one who created the new robots. And everyone, including myself, was like, well, there went that theory. Afton was supposed to be the business guy, not the creator. So if he's the one who builds animatronics in the game, then Henry must not exist in this universe. Scott had pulled the wool over my eyes, or at least retconned huge parts of his story to keep me off the scent once again. Except not.
Yeah,
the
no,
theory
he doesn't
was right
for
the
some
first
reason.
time. The Twisted Ones book confirms that both Henry and William Afton create animatronics, with the originals being built by Henry and the
Nightmares
Twisted
on the cover, but he doesn't
style
appear.
animatronics being Afton's. On page 92 of the Twisted Ones, we see the main character Charlie, daughter of Henry, talking about one of these new animatronics. Whoa, the hardware, the joints, it's older technology. Maybe he made them earlier? I don't know. I recognize some of this as my dad's work, but then a lot of it's foreign to me. Someone else may have had a hand in it. I'm not sure if my dad made it or not, but I have a feeling he's the one who buried it. Oh yeah, by the way, in the book, the twisted animatronics bury themselves during the day and come out at night to nab people. Animatronic zombies. Why not? It is probably one of the things that makes more sense in the book, honestly. Anyway, it's continually hinted at throughout the book that these animatronics weren't built by Henry. My father wouldn't have used this. He always put stops so that the joints couldn't do things humans can't do. Then again, on page 113, the bear was frightening, misshapen, an imitation of Freddy created by someone else. It was a strange variation, into which her father had never breathed life, but William Afton, Dave, did. And then finally, William Dave, maybe Purple Guy, Springtrap Afton confirms it on page 186.
Did you think my robots
would
be as poorly designed as your father's?
So there you go. The original theory still stands. Henry and William can both be active players in the game universe because both build animatronics. And if you need even more evidence, then think about it this way. At the end of FNAF World, Henry admits that he created Baby, and then he kills himself ashamed of his creation. At the beginning of Sister Location, location, we see that Afton is still alive, he's claiming creation rights, and he's obviously proud of his new robots. Then, at the end of the game, his son Michael Afton says that he's gonna come find his father.
Father, it's me, Michael. I'm going to come find you.
Thus, William is still alive, Henry is dead, but both must be a part of these games. And that's an important detail to solidify because the book also confirms something that FNAF theorists had been speculating about since the release of Sister Location.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest
Fucking
details
Ender
from
just
that game was
photoshopped
hidden
in
in
weirdly
Funtime
there.
Freddy's roof, where a map of FNAF 4's house was above
edited
and
him.
directly connected to the map of the Sister Location facility. It was also something that was hinted at throughout the Silver Eyes novel. Again, something that I covered in a previous theory, linked via those iCards in the upper right-hand corner. But Twisted Ones not only confirms this underground bunker for Sister Location exists, it also confirms whose house it's built under. Henry's. In the novel, we see the Twisted animatronics capture the main character Charlie, again, Henry's
Twisted
daughter,
Wolf
and
is so
drop her
fucking
off in
cool.
some remixed version of the FNAF 2 pizzeria. I say remixed because, like a lot of this book, it's a weird hybridization of the things that happen in the games and other stuff. It's got the carousel and balloon boys from the FNAF 2 location,
So
but
they're
then
using
there's a
the
cave and a
VHS
waterfall
filter,
for
bro.
some reason. Because why not? FNAF 7, Under the Sea!
Under
Earlier in the book,
the
Charlie
sea.
and her boyfriend John, who admittedly has to be the most patient and loving boyfriend in the history of the universe,
Oh
like
my
Charlie shows him no sense of affection, and he is there just like a sad puppy dog.
Oh
it
my
is
God.
tragic.
I hate
Anyway,
that
those two
fucking
go to visit
couple in the
Charlie's
fucking
childhood
Twisted
home,
Ones.
which has been destroyed by a
Hate that
storm.
relationship.
And what they find is that the storm has
Toxic.
broken down a wall to reveal a new room, a secret room, hidden in their house that Charlie had never known about. Whoa, that's not even part of the house. I've never seen this room before. The walls were made of dark concrete, and the room was small and windowless. A box jammed into the house and sealed away beneath the rooms. Whatever's out there killing people came from there. When the storm broke the wall, a section of the house was sealed until the storm broke through. But what's really important here is what's revealed when Charlie and the gang escape from that underground pizzeria I mentioned. On page 194, "We're out! We're okay! Don't you see where we are?" she whispered. Slowly she walked the length of the room, gesturing to the 4 enormous pits in the floor, one of which contained a headless, half-buried robot. "John, this is my dad's house. It's the room we found." They escaped upward out of the underground pizzeria and wound up in Henry's house. So slowly the pieces start to fit together. Henry in the book buries and tries to seal off the twisted animatronics and then commits suicide out of guilt for helping William to build these things in the first place, just like we see him do in FNAF World. And just like we see the underground bunker underneath a normal, everyday home in Sister Location. And I'm just getting started. Because while all this other information is certainly interesting, Twisted Ones exposed a detail
Little
from Sister
sneezy anus when
Location
we stream.
so tiny
This
and so
is-
minute that we all overlooked it in our excitement.
This is FNAF Game Theory. FNAF. The answer was right in front of us.
Over decoding underground storage facilities and tracking animatronic eye color. And yet, much like that infamous Chica Beak clue from FNAF 2 and 4, this small detail is so monumentally earth-shattering to the franchise as we know it that I can't not talk about it here. On Sister Location's Night 3, Michael Afton's big task is to remove a power module from Funtime Freddy. After following the narrator's instructions on which buttons to press and what order to press them in, Freddy's chest pops open and the power module reveals itself. And
Here we
it's
go.
this little
Illusion
blinking
disc
black
time.
dot, oddly unconnected to literally anything else in the animatronic, and in a pretty unusual place, just kinda stuck on, slightly off to the side. I remember thinking at the time that this was an odd design choice for something that was supposedly powering the whole animatronic, but meh, how would I know? No one, and I mean no one, called this thing out, considering Night 3 in general was just kinda forgettable, overshadowed by the misery that was the Spring Lock challenge on Night 4, and the fascinating map Easter eggs hidden on Night 2. But of course, this is FNAF, and no detail is too small in this series, and Twisted Ones blew the lid
Sort of
off
being
this
sci-fi,
disc's
yeah.
true purpose. Its little mystery being so important that it's the reason they're called the Twisted Ones in the first place. Stick with me now, because I'm not making any of this up. That little device from Sister Location is actually a mind control disc. Pause for all the stunned gasps and requisite eye rolls.
Yep.
I don't blame either of those reactions. Let me explain. Throughout the book, anytime the twisted animatronics show up, people start to feel weird side effects. Page 91 and 92. As her hand touched the creature, a wave of nausea
great.
hit her, but it lasted only a split second. Something else about it had transformed at the same time.
Buffering again. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
time. Its artificial skin took on a luminescence, and its movements were fluid and sure. Its casing suddenly appeared to have skin and fur, though they were blurry, flickering like a trick of the light. Now, after destroying one of these twisted animatronics, Charlie and boy toy John discover a weird object embedded in the machine. Quote, it was a flat disc, about the size of a $50 coin. She held it up to her ear. Wow, that's really high-pitched. I can barely hear it. The sound is why you feel sick. It emits some kind of signal. It changes what those things look like. It changes our perception of what they look like, Charlie corrected. Freddy's image flickered like static on a television screen. The color faded from his fur, then everything that made him Freddy winked out, leaving only a smooth plastic figure in his place. It looked like the rest of the animals in the room, a blank mannequin stripped of its characteristics. These aren't made out of fur and fabric. They're made by us, by twisting our minds. You shot the chip, you killed the illusion. Twisting our minds, you say. Roll credits!
Twisted.
Now, for as ridiculous as a small disc that emits sounds that gets your brain to change the way it perceives the world around you sounds, it's actually kind of based in scientific fact. The brain is constantly having to process tons of information, so it is always looking for shortcuts. For instance, if I show you this text, you're probably going to be able to read it really quickly, right? It's because the brain isn't reading text.
He couldn't believe that I actually understood what I was reading using the incredible power of the human mind. According to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters are in a word are. The only important things is that the first and last letter be in the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can you still read it without a problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. Amazing, huh? Yeah, and I always thought sleeping was important. See if your friends can read this too. That's easy.
Individual letters, but rather by the context of the other words around it, the way it expects.
Tyler, did you hear that someone is working on a spring lock suit on Twitter and it got stuck in there? What the fuck?
The sentence to go and making guesses off the most frequent short words that it sees on a day-to-day basis. The same is generally true in visual perception. Without going into detail here, it's how optical illusions work, and there's been plenty of research on how the brain fills in visual gaps that it experiences. So the idea that a disc is shooting out sounds that distract you and thus cause your perception of reality to change to stuff that you're actually more familiar with isn't as far-fetched as it might seem. At least, not as far-fetched as robots haunted by dead children getting into an all-out rumble against other animatronics built to vor unsuspecting victims, which is literally a thing that happens in the climax of this book. Not to spoil it or anything. And of course, it probably goes without saying, but these little mind-controlled discs were created by none other than
optical illusion for some reason.
Afton, age 99. There was writing along one edge. She had to bring the piece of plastic close to her face to make the letters out. They were tiny and written in an old-fashioned flowing script. They read, Afton Robotics, LLC. Charlie dropped the disc immediately. Afton? William Afton. That's my father's old partner. That's Dave's real name, John finished. I thought he was just a business partner for Freddy's, she said slowly. I guess he did a bit more than that. So why and how does this matter in the context of the games? I actually think it has the potential to explain a lot. First, from the book. So the animatronics aren't changing shape, we're just being distracted. What's the purpose of that, though? To earn our trust, to look more friendly, to look more real, to lure kids closer. And that's something we definitely see at play throughout Sister Location. It was even in the hidden animatronic blueprints that we discovered. Weird technology put in place to lure and trap kids. Now, this is speculation, but remember Sister Location's secret control room that allowed us to observe the crying child's bedroom, as well as other key locations from FNAF 4? On the map, they were labeled as observation rooms. Could that be what William was observing? The effects of his mind-twisting discs on children. Could FNAF 4 not have been a dream, a nightmare, a hospital hallucination, whatever, but rather the twisted dreams generated by these distraction discs? But even beyond that, I think these discs explain a topic that I have actively avoided throughout all my theories on this series. The Phantom animatronics from FNAF 3. Remember way back to FNAF 3 when this was supposed to be the final boss battle? There was only one real animatronic out to get you, Springtrap. All the other main jump scares were hallucinations in a building that had a high noise the whole time. And especially when it came to the puppet attacking you. weird that these hallucinations are happening around a time when there's high-pitched noises around, like these discs emanate. And notice that the ventilation in the game would only tend to drop after you had been scared, not before. It's as though these hallucinations aren't coming from a lack of oxygen, like Phone Dude says, but rather from some other source. A disc. A disc specifically designed to manipulate your mind and bring forward all the horrific memories that you have buried in it. And regardless of whether you think though these hallucinations aren't coming from a lack of oxygen, like Phone Dude says, but rather from some other source. Memories that you
what? Oh no.
Which is honestly a theory for a whole nother day. One thing you can't deny is that these discs, Springtrap, and the Afton family are all connected, meaning that their use in a game where you're coming into direct contact with a giant golden bunny definitely makes a whole lot of sense. Could they also be the explanation for the other random Easter eggs we've seen throughout the series? The Lolbit mask, and the Mini Rena's random appearances in the control room of Sister Location. The Phantom Freddy and Phantom Bonnie from FNAF 2. I mean, the FNAF 2 location does make an appearance of sorts in the book, with the discs hidden in the lights of the building, maybe even the hallucination of It's Me way back in FNAF 1. The ramification of discs like this changes everything, and we physically see them present in Sister Location. So even if Scott is tired of the franchise, that doesn't mean it has to end without the answers that we've all been waiting for. You know what? I'm here for you to try and put together this mess of a puzzle as a community of theorists. There's still plenty more to speculate about as the Twisted Ones opens the door to even more interesting and even more absurd ways of maiming and murdering children with Chuck E. Cheese-style robotics. And I haven't even gotten to how I think the main character of the book series is probably a robot, but and I haven't even gotten to how I think the main character of the book series is probably a robot.
Okay. Again, Matpat predicts the fucking future. As you know, fourth clause revealed that Charlie is actually a robot. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it, Matpat. Stop being a fucking genie. Stop predicting the future. Right now. Right now. Stop it.
But again, those are all theories for other days. In the meantime, remember that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. You know, at this point, FNAF is 3 years old. 3 years. That means most of you younger fans of the series are probably hitting that special time in your life where hair starts to appear in place. Don't make time to share. Executive.
Is this like the rest of this just like a sponsor?
Month of the and with my handle from my excuse me, I have a ridiculous math question in store for next week's episode that I need to go solve. I will.
Alrighty, so that was that. Okay, so yeah. That was cool, I guess. So yeah, Matpat predicts the future again. I just love how Matpat keeps predicting the future in these theories. First things first, he predicts that like people would complain about the FNAF movie not being accurate to the game with how people wanted it to be just fucking Michael looking at the fucking cameras and doors and shit. In this story, Matpat predicted that. Matpat also predicted the fact that that FNAF will like later on just to like have lore you need to solve with the fucking books and not from the games with like Ruin, but he said that about sister location. He was kind of ahead with the sister location criticism. He predicted Ultimate Custom Night with it being like animatronics against William. And then he predicted fucking Charlie being a robot revealed in the fourth closet. Oh my god. And you could kind of argue it might also predict his later theory of security breach with Gregory being a robot, but that's a whole fucking other prediction. So that comes with like 2. Oh my god. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today's stream. Part 3 we'll try and have happen Monday for Matpat Monday. I tried to do it yesterday for Monday, but I had to do it today instead on a Tuesday because internet issues yesterday. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. In the description below will eventually be the chapters for the theories we watched today, which were like the sister location ones. What's like the next one? The next one is like a science of, which isn't like a theory. Alright, so the next one is like... The next one is like, FNAF the Final Day, right? The next one is like next to or before Pizza Sim, so... Yeah. That's a good start point. I guess next time we'll do these next 2 and then the Pizza Sim and UCM theories. Final. Hope you guys enjoyed. As well in the description is my Discord server, Twitter, Instagram, Tyler Extras, Tyler's World, my TikTok. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you on the next thing that I do. Toodles. Toodles.
Boom.